So in today's video we are going to be doing a review of the weekend football results, and we've got a lot of stuff to talk about because we're going to talk about the FA Cup final, we're going to talk about the Premier League results because we had some very big results in terms of the race for the European spots, some farewells as well, some emotional games. And then we'll also delve into some of the European leagues because some leagues have officially finished across Europe, some leagues champions were wrapped up, etc. So gonna delve into all of that in today's video. Let me know your thoughts on any of the games we discuss, but we're gonna start by just talking about the FA Cup final that took place on Saturday. Finished Crystal Palace 1, Manchester City 0, goal from Eberici Eze. Crystal Palace make history. Wow. I mean, before I even talk about Manchester City, Crystal Palace, incredible. Their first ever major trophy as a club. What an achievement. And these Palace players are going to go down in history. They are really history makers here. Oliver Glasner, what an amazing job this guy has done for Crystal Palace. It's absolutely insane. The ways when he came in, they were a team competing at the bottom ends of the table. They were in a relegation battle and he has taken them now their first ever trophy. It's absolutely insane and it was deserved. Their performance was absolutely incredible. Players like Daniel Munoz, Eze, Mateta, Dean Henderson, all of the players in this game were absolutely incredible. They were absolutely incredible. They've been incredible throughout this run to the final, and they held their nerve. I think a lot of us maybe thought they could potentially, it's their first proper final, be a bit nervous coming up against the experienced Manchester City side, but they didn't show any of it. They were absolutely magnificent. And it's such a good achievement. It's really refreshing to see as well. Seeing the big teams, seeing the same old teams win the cups, it gets a bit boring, to be honest, right? So it's really nice to see these teams win the cup like Palace, and I think this sort of signifies with Newcastle winning the Copa Cup too that the tide is sort of changing, right? Both domestic cups have not gone to any of the big six for, I don't know, the last time that even happened, to be honest. So I think it's shown that a gap between these sort of smaller sides and the big six has drastically decreased in the Premier League, where it's not a surprise really that Palace have won the FA Cup. Obviously no one really expected them to do it, but if you had told me at the start of the season Palace would win the FA Cup, I'd be like, yeah, probably not, but I'm not going to be like, what? No way. But that's a credit to just how good Glasner's turned this Palace side into, how good some of these players are, and the performances these guys put in. I mean, Eze, wow. What a run. He scored in the final, the semi-final and the quarter-final for Palace. Absolutely incredible. Obviously there was a bit of contention with Dean Henderson. Maybe he should have got sent off, probably should have, but at the end of the day, you need a bit of luck in finals, right? And it came. Dean Henderson was incredible. Some great saves throughout. Defensively, Palace held on really well. On the counter-attack, it was typical Palace. A really well-worked goal. And yeah, what a great day for their fans. What a great achievement for Palace. Well done to them. And it's going to be interesting as well what happens now, because players like Eze, players like Gay, even Glasner have been linked with exits in the summer, right? Glasner was doubted by a lot of Bundesliga clubs. I think Leipzig particularly are very interested in him. Eze and Gay, could leave. If they do leave, I mean, what a way for these guys to sign off, but it could also be the start of something here for Palace. maybe now they've won this, these guys could stay. Glasner could stay, could renew, and be like, you know what, we're in Europe, we're playing European football next season. I believe in Europa League as well, which is an insane achievement. Maybe this could be the start of something for Palace. Maybe they can really use this as a platform to kick on. And if it isn't, then it's a bit disappointing, but what a way for these guys to go out and end their Palace careers, right? And also shout out to Joel Ward, who captain lifted the trophy. Joel Ward has been there through thick and thin. He was there when they were in the Championship, a key player in helping them get promoted and stay in the Premier League, and now got a chance to lift a trophy. He's leaving at the end of the season, a Palace legend. Yeah, great moment all round for Palace, and huge congratulations to them. What a moment it is. Manchester City, on the other hand, while this is a legendary season for Palace, this has just capped off what is an awful season for their standards. They are officially now going trophyless for, I don't know, like the first time in how long. That might be the first time under Pep, to be honest. Going trophyless this season, it was a poor display in this game. They had their chances, but they could not take them. Obviously had a penalty. Haaland, I mean, I understood technically why he didn't take it, because he has been a bit dodgy from the spot. Remember, missed a penalty this season against Pickford. He's not like Mr. Reliable, but Marmoush stepped up and bought a penalty. And yeah, the chances City did have, he didn't take. Pep Guardiola, a bit of a weird, interesting selection. He loves doing this for the overthinking, right? You went like all out attack in this game. Didn't play Kovacic, or playing like De Bruyne and Bernardo in a double pivot. It was a bit weird. And also chucked Claudio Echeverri on in the 76th minute. The guy has never even been on the bench. Yeah, he just chucked him on. I don't know what the hell was going on there. To be fair, he actually played pretty decent, but had some good chances. That also probably spells the end of someone like Nunes and Grealish's career at City if this kid is starting getting minutes ahead of them. But yeah, Manchester City in the end didn't get the trophy. They couldn't put their chances away. It is a trophyless season for them, and it's going to be interesting how they respond, because they obviously need to secure Champions League football. They are still in the race for that. How is this going to affect them? Is this going to demoralise them? Or maybe it's going to sort of reignite them and be like, okay, we need to focus now and put all our efforts into getting Champions League football. But I mean, if they don't get Champions League football and we don't win a trophy this season, oh boy, this is a disastrous season for Manchester City. But credit to Crystal Palace, what a moment and what a day for them. Right, let's move on to the Premier League fixtures now. I'm going to talk a lot, like I'll go into a bit of detail for some of the like European games, but some games which were like meaningless, I'm not really going to talk too much on. So, Aston Villa 2, Tottenham Hotspur 0, goals from Ezri Konsa and Boubacar Kamara. So this game did have some meaning. A Friday fixture in terms of the Champions League spots. Villa needed a victory here and they got the job done in the end. I know it's completely deserved. Spurs really didn't offer anything. They had like one chance from Odobert and that was literally it. Villa dominated the game, but they were struggling to put their chances away. You could sort of sense the nerves in the stadium amongst the players. They just needed to get that first goal and he eventually got it through Konsa. Then from that point it was, much better from Villa, and they managed to get that second goal which really took everything out of Spurs. It was a really big win for Villa. They needed to win this game to keep their chance of Champions League football alive, and they did so. So yeah, well done to them. Now, interestingly, after the game, Emi Martinez, it was like obviously the last home game, so we do like the lap of honour. He was sort of emotional and seemed like he was waving goodbye, which I thought was really strange. I don't know if he's actually been linked away, but maybe there's something there, Spurs. It's another loss. They completely rotated their side ahead of the Europa League final. I mean, they've been doing this the entire season, so I'm not really going to say, oh, it's bad preparation for the Europa League. At this point, we all know what this Spurs team is like, so yeah, I'm not even going to talk about it. But it was interesting, their strategy, because they completely rotated. Meanwhile, Man United, I should move on to that game. In their game, they rotated, but they kept like a decent amount of players, maybe to sort of build their sharpness and fitness and stuff. But it didn't work because they lost 1-0 to Chelsea, goal from Mark Cucurella. So it was another big game. In the race for European spots, Chelsea needed to win, and we got the job done. It wasn't the most convincing, it wasn't the greatest performance in the world, but at the end of the day, at this point in the season, I couldn't give a damn about performances. I only care about results, and we got the win. In the end, Mark Cucurella, who has really gone under the radar this season in terms of he's been fantastic. I know a lot of rival fans would probably not want to admit it because, you know, he's a bit of an annoying player. But he's actually been really good this season. He's been fantastic going forward, scored some clutch goals and scored a big goal here. Incredible work, incredible assist for Reece James as well. And yeah, we got the win. As I said, it was a vintage Chelsea, but we take the result, we take the point, we take the win. And that now moves us, you know, top 5 is in our hands. That is all I really could ask for going into the final day. No matter what happens, we win, we are in the Champions League. So yeah, no, it's going to be tough against Forest. I'll probably do like a predictions video for the final day games, but I'm hoping we can get the job done. We've set up, we've done the best we can. So let's see what happens. And yeah, United, just yeah, same thing with Spurs. We know what they're like. Again, both these teams are probably not going to get 40 points, but yeah, let's just move on. Everton 2, Southampton 0, a brace from Iliman Ndiaye. So I'm not really going to talk about this game, but of course this was the last game at Goodison Park. A very, very emotional day, emotional game. It was a farewell and a bit of an end of an era for Everton. Goodison Park, I mean, I'm just really going to talk about general, right? As a Chelsea fan, I'll say this, Goodison Park was a nasty place to go. I did not like going Goodison Park. Whenever, you know, if Everton needed a result, if they needed to win, you know, they're in a relegation battle, or it's like under the lights, or they're in form, oh boy, Goodison Park away from home. I have some bad memories there as a Chelsea fan. We always used to lose there because it was such a hostile environment. It was, you know, the fans were always so close, they're always so loud, they got like flares going. It was a awful place to go, which is the best compliment you could ever give to a fan base in a stadium, right? So many great memories, obviously, Everton had in Goodison Park, so it's an end of an era. It'll be interesting what happens, how they succeed in their new stadium, because of course, a lot of Premier League clubs don't really succeed or haven't succeeded in their new modern stadiums, like Spurs, like West Ham, I guess you can say like Arsenal as well. Let's see if Everton can do so, but yeah, Goodison Park is gone. I believe it's going to be going to the women's team, which is nice. So end of an era, start of a new one. And yeah, an emotional day. The legends were out. People like Rooney, Duncan Ferguson were all there to say goodbye to Goodison Park. West Ham 1, Nottingham Forest 2, goals from one gives by Nikola Milinkovic and Jared Bowen. So Nottingham Forest needed a victory. They have been in a bit of free fall recently. Their form has completely tailed off, but they needed to win to keep their chances alive of Champions League football. And I also do believe this win has confirmed them to get at least some form of European football, which is a good achievement, by the way, for Forest. I know it'll be disappointing if they don't get Champions League football given where they were, but still to get European football, nobody at all really expected that from Forest, so they should be pleased with that. But yeah, let's see, it could be even more, and he could get into the Champions League, which would be fantastic. Gibbs White played fantastic in this game. Matt Sells made some good saves. It was a bit of a feisty game. This one actually ended in some pretty rough scenes. Anthony Elanga was great. Jared Bowen, by the way, amazing goal. He has ended the season in some sensational form, but big win for Forest to keep their Champions League hopes alive. Brentford 2, Fulham 3, goals from Brian and Wemo, Johan Wisser, Raul Jimenez, Tom Kenny and Harry Wilson. So this was a massive game for the battle of 8th. Now, with Palace winning the Europa League, the FA Cup, they qualify, I believe, for the Europa League, so that now means obviously top 5 get Champions League football, 6th will get Europa League plus Crystal Palace, which means now only 7th gets Conference League. So that does obviously mean that Brentford, Brighton, Fulham, Bournemouth, their chances of Conference League are pretty much gone. However, they can still get Conference League if Chelsea, I believe, finish 7th and win the Conference League, then the 8th spot will go to Conference League as well. So there is still a chance, but it's relying on Chelsea now. And yeah, Fulham have really boosted their hopes of getting that spot with this win. A comeback victory. Harry Wilson, by the way, I mean, he loves scoring against Brentford. If you remember at the start of this season, he scored 2 goals in the 90th minute against them, and he did it again with an amazing goal. And yeah, Fulham picked up a win, and Buemo missed a penalty in this game too. So, a big win for that race for 8th spot, which may or may not get European spots. Leicester City 2, Ipswich Town 0, goal from Jamie Vardy and Casey Magadir. So, obviously a nothing game, but a big game in terms of Jamie Vardy. This was his final ever game in a Leicester City shirt. It was his 500th appearance for Leicester, and he was chasing that 200th goal for Leicester, and he did actually get it. So, what a moment. 500 games, 200 goals in a Leicester City shirt. Only cost £1 million. One of the greatest bargains, I guess, in football history. Jamie Vardy, the greatest Leicester City player probably of all time. Absolute baller. Premier League winner, FA Cup winner. Played in the Champions League, played in the Europa League. Over 200 goals for the club, I believe their record goal scorer. An absolute legend, a golden boot winner in the Premier League. Vardy is a Premier League legend, one of the best strikers in the last 10 years in the Premier League. And now, even still, aged 38, he's still going and still scoring goals in the Premier League. The longevity is absolutely insane. Vardy, one of my favourite strikers, definitely to watch. He was absolutely fantastic as a player. Yeah, he got his send-off, and what a nice moment for him. Be interesting what happens with his career. He says he's not retiring, but I've seen links to Wrexham, which would be pretty cool, MLS links, etc. So we'll see what happens, but his Leicester City career is over. It was nice to see like the legends as well, like his teammates, you know, Wes Morgan, Albrighton, Okazaki, Drinkwater from the title-winning squads. Fair, but yeah, Vardy, one of the best strikers in the Premier League, bids farewell to Leicester, which is a bit of an emotional one. Right, and finally, Arsenal 1, Newcastle 0, goal from Declan Rice. So this was the battle for second place. Newcastle could have secured Champions League football here with a win, but Arsenal were the ones who ensured a top 5 finish, and it ensured they finished second place with a fantastic goal by Declan Rice. Very, very good goal. would say Newcastle absolutely dominated them in the first half, and I don't know how they were not 1-0 up. David Raya was amazing. But in second half, Arsenal completely battered them, and yeah, a fantastic goal by Declan Rice to seal second spots. Newcastle, though, are now dragged into the top 5 battle. They still, it's in their hands, but who knows, maybe a slip up. Alexander Isak was injured. I don't know if he's back for the last game of the season, but without Isak in attack, we looked a little bit blunt. We lacked his finishing, so it'll be disappointing if Newcastle collapsed and didn't get Champions League given the position they are in, but they should still get it. Yeah. Right, that is the Premier League results. Let's move on to some of the European stuff now, because some of the leagues have been wrapped up officially. So, the Bundesliga has officially finished. So, of course, Bayern Munich, we already knew, won the league, but their final game for Thomas Müller, officially in a Bayern Munich shirt, he won that 4-1. 4-0 actually. Michael Olise and Harry Kane also on the score sheet in that one. Finishing second by Leverkusen, of course. The last game for Xabi Alonso in charge ended 2-2 against Mainz. Eintracht Frankfurt secured Champions League football, and Borussia Dortmund managed to win 3-0 against Holstein Kiel on the final day to secure Champions League football. Meanwhile, Freiburg get the Europa League spot and Mainz get the Conference League spot, with Leipzig missing out on European football altogether. So that is how the Bundesliga ended on the final day. There wasn't too much drama. Liga, though, there was quite a bit of drama on the final day of the season. Obviously, PSG had already won the game, the league, and this was really just their preparation for the Champions League final. And they did play a very strong side and got the win. But so Marseille finished in second. Monaco got absolutely smoked by Will Steele's Lens 4-0, but they're already in the Champions League. However, Nice, with a 6-0 win on the final day, secured a top 4 spot. Lille managed to get 5th. Lyon managed to get 6th because Strasbourg completely collapsed. They had a big chance here. They were 2-1 up, and then went 2-2, and then 98th minute got a red card, conceded a penalty, and lost the game 3-2 against Le Havre, who, that result as well, by the way, means they avoid the relegation playoff. Absolutely insane from Le Havre to stay in the division there. But a win there for Strasbourg would have boosted them into 6th spot and into Europe, but they've missed out on Europe entirely, unfortunately. Serie A, huge twist in the title race. Now, it was the penultimate game, so not the final day of the season, but Napoli had Parma, and Napoli drew 0-0. They dropped points against Parma. They had a penalty in the last second, which was overturned by VAR, but luckily for them, Inter Milan, in dramatic fashion, also dropped points, drawing to Lazio. Pedro with a brace. Pedro, if you remember him, I mean, this guy's still going. He's what, like 37? Yeah, 37. Scores a brace to dent them. 90th minute penalty. Absolutely ruins Inter Milan's chances of winning the league. It means it goes to the final day, and it is now 1 point ahead. Napoli going into the final day of the season. So this is definitely something to watch out for next weekend. Serie A title race is going to the final day of the season. It's in Napoli's hands. If Napoli win, they win the league, but they don't count out. And also, by the way, Inter, just a side note, Serie A has a rule where if it ends a draw, these go to play like a final to decide Serie A. So if Napoli lose and Inter Milan draw, then we're going to have a Napoli versus Inter match to decide the Serie A title, which would be absolutely insane. But yeah, Serie A title is going to the final day, and the top four race is also going to the final day, with respectively between Juve, Roma, Lazio for the final top 4 spots. And in La Liga, so Barcelona, I don't think we have spoken since the last time, but they have been officially crowned champions after beating Espanyol in midweek, but in their sort of title parade, a bit hungover, lost to Villarreal at home, but yeah, the title was wrapped up for them already, and yeah, not too much to play for in La Liga except Villarreal and Bilbao for the top 4 spot, although actually I think Spain might be killing 5 spots, so yeah, I don't think there's actually anything to play for besides the relegation spots between Leganes and Espanyol in La Liga. I also want to talk about quickly the Eredivisie because that was officially wrapped up and officially Ajax, I might actually do a video on this, the biggest bottle job in history here. I think that at one point they were like 9 points, maybe even more than that, clear of PSV with like 4 games to go, and they've somehow lost. PSV won 3-1 and Ajax did win on the final day, but it wasn't enough. And also shout out to Sporting because they actually managed to win the league on the final day of the season ahead of Benfica. They won 2-0, Victor Gyökeres scoring to win the league 2 points ahead of Benfica, who dropped points on the final day to Braga. So well done to them and Ruben Amorim. If you don't win the Europa League final on Wednesday, then I guess you can go back to Sporting and go collect your winner's medal. But anyways, that was all of the weekend football results. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video, and if you have,